Was good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we get started, I just want to say thank you, God, for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm going to be showing y'all how to create the first ever back-to-basket big build with 100 post control on NBA 2K23 Next Gen. Now, this build is going to apply exactly as well to past gen, but before we get any further into this actual build making, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family because I'm uploading every single day, and I got a lot of content in store for y'all. And last but not least, don't forget to smash that like button. Now go ahead and let me know in the comments down below, where are you tuning in from? And I most definitely got y'all with a response, but comment down TG for thank God. Now let's go ahead and get into the making of this actual build. So I'm going to show you two different versions on how to make it. One of them will be more well-rounded than the other, but some of these builds, I'm telling you, you have to make them exactly how I show y'all, or else you're going to get a completely different build name. So let's get started by putting this build under the center position. Now when it comes down to left or right-handed, I'm going to go with left, and then for the jersey number, go ahead and put number 1 because this is going to be the number 1 version of this build. Now to get started when it comes down to the physicals, I've seen this build made different ways in the past, but today I'm going to be going with 6'11". Now for the weight, normally we would max this out, but today I'm going to go with 215, and then for the wingspan, we're definitely going to have the defense here, so I'm going to go with 7'9". Now I would go with build, but again, this really comes down to your own liking and preference, so I'm going to leave it as is. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this actual build. So for the finishing, this is going to be one of the strongest areas, but before we get into that, I want to go ahead and show y'all what the physicals need to be looking like. So for my speed, I'm going to bring this up to a 79. Now right there, that's going to be maxed out. When it comes down to the acceleration, put this to a 75. Now for the strength, I'm going to go with the 74 as well. Now when it comes down to the strength, I'm going to go ahead and put this to a 74. And then when it comes down to the vertical, make sure that you bring this up all the way to a 75 because this is going to allow us to get the elite big man contact dunks. Now for the stamina, this really comes down to your own liking and preference, but my threshold for every single build that I bring to y'all is going to be a 90. Now let's go ahead and first get started when it comes down to the finishing. So what I'm going to look at first is going to be the close shot. Bring this up to a 96. Now keep in mind, this is going to be the first version of the build in order to get most of the actual attributes when it comes down to 99 plus, but also when it comes down to Hall of Fame badges. So go ahead and put this to a 96 for the first part. When it comes down to the rest of the post control and the standing dunk, I'm going to go with the standing dunk of a 98, and this right here is going to give us all of the badges that we want on the Hall of Fame level. Now when it comes down to the post control, I'm going to go with the 99. And this right here is going to allow us to get Hall of Fame quick first step. Now overall, if you want to go ahead and keep these numbers as is for the shooting has to maintain around the 70s. Now when it comes down to the second version of this build, these numbers are going to be much higher when it comes down to this area. So what I did was go with the 70 for the mid-range and a 71 for the three-pointer. Now my free throw came all the way up to an 80, but right now I'm going to lower it down to a 75 because this is what the second version of this build is going to be looking like. Now when it comes down to the pass accuracy, originally I brought this up all the way to a 72, and this is only going with the second version, being that we're making sure that we're getting all of the Hall of Fame badges. Now for the main version, I'm going to go ahead and get into that right here. So as you can see already, when it comes down to the finishing, we're able to leave the close shot as is. We're going to go ahead and bring up the driving layup all the way up to a 45. Now we're only bringing this up to a 45 because we're going to adjust stats later on that's going to bring this up anyways. So right here, when it comes down to the standing dunk, leave this at a 98, but when it comes down to the post control, we're still going to be able to get 100 plus, but look, we're not going to be able to get Hall of Fame quick first step. So I'm going to go with an 89 right here. Now when it comes down to the shooting, this is going to be one of the stronger areas for the main version of this build. So I'm going to go with the mid-range shot of an 81. When it comes down to my three-pointer, I'm going to go with the 76, and then when it comes down to the free throw, leave it at a 75. Now when it comes down to the pass accuracy, for the main version of this build, I'm going to go with the 70. Now the ball handle, this can go to a 41, and then when it comes down to the speed with ball, I'm going to leave it at a 29. Now for the interior defense on this build, I'm telling you, you're definitely going to be able to hold your own and take this build into any game mode of your choosing, especially when it comes down to 5v5, you have everything that you need. Now for the perimeter defense, I'm going to go with the 68, but if you want to hire this into the max, or you can go into the 70s, that's another option as well. Now for my steal, I'm going to bring this all the way up to a 73. Now look, if you wanted to, you can change some of the areas when it comes down to the shooting to get more in your defense. But again, I went with a more balanced version overall. And then when it comes down to my block, go with the 78. And this is pretty much going to set you up perfectly, especially when it comes down to the rebounding. This is what's going to end it off. So I'm going to go with the defensive rebound of an 85. And right there, we get 20 badges when it comes down to the defensive end, 7 when it comes down to the playmaking, 19 for the shooting, and then we get 22 just for the finishing. Now we have a few extra attributes left over, so you can put this into any area that you like. To be more athletic on the defensive end, I'm going to go with an 80 when it comes down to my vertical. Now this is exactly what the build should be looking like if you copied everything how I brought it to y'all. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at some of the badges. So as you can see, everything pretty much when it comes down to the finishing is going to be on Hall of Fame. You got a good amount of badges, especially when it comes down to tier 3 being Hall of Fame, Fast Twitch, Rise Up Masher. Then we also get Fearless Finisher. Honestly, Back Down Punisher is going to be very useful. And then we also get Giant Slayer. Now when it comes down to the shooting, I feel like this is going to be super balanced. The main badges that I'm looking at are going to be Mini Magician, Amped, and then when it comes down to other badges, Blinders is pretty solid, Green Machine as well, and then I'm happy that we get Limitless Range. Now when it comes down to the playmaking, look, if you did go with the first version of this build, being that you're able to go with a 99 plus post control, that means you're able to get quick first step on Hall of Fame, and honestly, that's a different option if you want to go that route. But when it comes down to the rest of these badges, I feel like Unpluckable is going to be key, but look, you're not able to get this unless you add on extra badges throughout each season. Then down the road, I'm telling you, once you unlock this badge, it'll be super overpowered. You also do get handles for days as well as Clamp Breaker. Now when it comes down to the defensive end, some of these badges you'll be able to get on the Hall of Fame level if you do decide to upgrade the defense even more. Now the main ones that I'm looking at right here are going to be Challenger. We also do get Glove and then also Chase Down Artist on Gold. Box Out Beast is going to be one of the main badges for tier 2, and then I'm happy that we do get Anchor. Now from here, I think Rebound Chaser is going to be clutch for this build. Now let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of when it comes down to the actual takeovers. So as you can see, we get the Limitless Range takeover, the Sharpshooting. Now from here we also get Rim Protecting, and then finally we get the Post Scoring. So really take into consideration, if you buy your own boost, which is a +4, then if you activate your takeover, once you pick the post scoring takeover, that means you'll be able to get a 100 plus close shot, standing dunk, as well as your post control. Now, if you decide to go with the same version, how I'm bringing it to you right now, and you go with the shooting, this means you're going to be able to get a 100 plus mid-range and a 3-pointer. Now again, these numbers are adjustable. You can pretty much bring your 3-pointer and mid-range all the way up to an 81. Now if you want to go about it any other way, that's perfectly okay. But when it comes down to the first takeover that I would pick, I'm going to go with Limitless Range. The second one, I think honestly, post scoring is going to be super overpowered, but honestly on the defensive end, I think Stuff Blocks is going to be very useful, especially if you're playing 1v1. So I'm going to go with first Limitless Range and Stuff Blocks, and you can flip-flop these if you wanted to. Now you can go with Interior Badge Drop when it comes down to the defensive end, but honestly look, Power Backdowns or even Advanced Post Moves are going to be both solid. Post Playmaking is alright, but I think it's going to be better to use more of the offensive takeovers. So first, I'm going to go with Advanced Post Moves just to switch it up. Now let's go ahead and make sure that we create the build exactly so we're able to get that build name. Now from here, look, we're going to be able to get some nice comparisons. Now as y'all can see, we have created the first ever back-to-basket big build with 100 plus post control in NBA 2K23. Now from here, really quick, if you have not done so already, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button if you mess with this build. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the actual badges. Now look, this build at 99 overall, I'm telling you, one of the best rare builds that you can see and one of the most true post scoring builds as well. Now first, when it comes down to the finishing badges, I'm going to go with Limitless Takeoff. Another one that I really like is going to be Postman Technician. Now Dream Shake, if you've seen the clips and paid attention, this badge is super useful and it pretty much breaks your ankles when it comes down to being a defender, trying to defend the post. Now if you paid close attention to the clips that I showed you, Dream Shake is going to be one of the main badges that were activated. This pretty much breaks your defender's ankles when activating certain post moves. So I'm going to go with this level on the Hall of Fame. Now when it comes down to tier 2, Back Down Punisher is going to be super useful, and then also I like Fearless Finisher. Now for the final badge, you can core any of the tier 3 badges. For my liking, I'm going to go with Masher, and then we have one remaining badge, and you can go with Pro Touch or Slithery. Really comes down to your own liking, but let's go ahead and get into the shooting. Now there's a few different setups that you can go with, but the first one that I'm going to hit on is honestly going to be Amped. This is going to be one of the best badges to work with. After that, I'm going to go with Agent 3. Now Mini Magician is going to be another good badge to work with, especially in the post game. Now when it comes down to tier 2, Blinders is a solid badge, but one that I would put over it is going to be Green Machine. Now from here we did unlock tier 3, so one badge I'm going to pick between Catch and Shoot and Corner Specialist is going to be Corner Specialist. Now we do have room to core one more badge, so if you wanted to, you can go with Catch and Shoot, but today I feel like you can go with Limitless Range. So let's go ahead and switch it up. Core Corner Specialist on Silver, then from there we're going to go and put on our badge points towards Limitless Range. Now we have one more extra badge, so if you want to, you can go with Volume Shooter. Now from here, let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of the Playmaking. First, for tier 1, I'm going to go with Handles for Days. Now from there, go ahead and make sure that you put on Quick First Step on tier 2. Now if you wanted to, you can go ahead and take off Handles for Days on Bronze and then go with Bronze Bailout. But what I'm going to do is go with Special Delivery on Silver, and this is going to work out perfect for my playstyle. You could even go with Clamp Breaker and switch up the badges. It really comes down to what you want to do. 3 Bronze badges is another setup that I would go with. Now from here, we have the defensive end to go ahead and get into. So I'm going to go with First Glove on tier 1. Also Challenger. Now you can go with Interceptor, and these 3 badges are going to be essential when it comes down to tier 1. Now for tier 2, I'm going to go with Box Out Beast on Gold. Same thing when it comes down to Chase Down Artist. Now we did unlock tier 3, which means for the first badge that I'm going to run with, going to be Anchor on Bronze. The second one, you can pick between Brick Wall or Rebound Chaser, but you're going to have to do it as a core badge. And for mine, I'm going to go with Silver Rebound Chaser. Now we have 2 more remaining badges. You can pretty much go with anything to your own liking. Now if you want to go ahead and be able to play on-ball defense, the badge that I would pick is going to be Ankle Braces on Silver. And this is pretty much what the build is going to be looking like. Now if you want to, when it comes down to your Playmaking badge that you can core, you can go with Vice Grip, and this is another solid setup to work with. Now overall, as you can see, we're able to get 20 defensive badges. Then when it comes down to the finishing, 22. Shooting, we get 19, and then to wrap it up for the Playmaking, we get a total of 7. So if you made it this far into the video, be sure to comment down TG for Thank God, and I most definitely will hit y'all with a response. Let me know as well, what did y'all think about this build? And if you want to make any changes to it, what would you change about it and why are you doing it? But let me know if you made the first or second version. But man, with all that being said, I just want to say thank you, God, for another day and another opportunity. Thank y'all for continuously supporting and showing up. But man, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. But with all that being said, God bless y'all. And I got one last thing to say. Rich out.